Hello Internet, and welcome to my live reaction for One Piece chapter 1055. When we last left our heroes, we stepped away from the Straw Hats for a bit to just touch on everything else going on in the world. We saw a little bit more of Wano as the Scabbards and Yamato and Momo went out to confront Aramaki. I'm not trying to remember what the correct consonant in his name, but Aramaki kind of trounced them. Like with his woodwood fruit, they didn't really stand much of a chance against him. There was this interesting bit of Momo telling Yamato not to join the fight, maybe because Yamato is a Straw Hat, and so Momo doesn't want him to, influence Wano anymore, to go, Momo is the one who will defend Wano, not the Straw Hats, or something. Meanwhile, Shanks is, learning about things in the world, about Buggy being an emperor now, along with Luffy, and he's outside Wano, but he decides not to go visit Luffy, and instead to protect his territory from Bartolomeo, who's been up to stuff since that cover story years ago. And then we check in with the Marines, with Sakazuki. Sakazuki? Yeah, that's his name? Akainu? Yeah, Sakazuki. And this new guy, Tensei, and Borsalino, who reveal a good bit about what happened at the Reverie. Sabo has supposedly killed Cobra, is the big one. But the revolutionaries, Vivi's disappeared, the revolutionaries declared war on the Celestial Dragons, one of the dragons was attacked, Kuma's been freed, and Sabo is now seen as this, demigod by revolutionaries around the world, with the title of Flame Emperor, which, of course, given the whole thing about the Four Emperors being a big moment right now with Luffy, that is absolutely a bit of parallelism there. But yeah, Sakazuki declares that he's going to take everyone down to the depths of the ocean, and that's where we leave off. Let's dive right on in chapter 1055, The New Era, a title continuing the sort of theme of the fate of the world outside Wano. Except we open in Wano. We see, Nami and Tama enjoying the party along with Zeus. The festival has been going on for chapters now. But then we cut to outside the city with the battle still going on. As Momo continues to get onto Yamato, "You mustn't, Yamato! Why not? Why can't I fight him?" But Momo does not really explain, "You mustn't! Don't you dare strike him!" And with his, tree fist, Aramaki slams Momo into the ground. Raizo readies an attack. "Ninpo! Scroll Jutsu! Fire escape!" And he, throws some fire that he had sealed up in a scroll at Aramaki. Aramaki being a tree man, that's a good choice. Gwah! Yeah. Nah. He's just fucking playing with them. What a fucker. Firebreak Forest. You think I could hack it as an admiral of Navy HQ if I was actually susceptible to such an obvious weakness? And Aramaki coils one of his roots and pierces Raizo with it. Oof. Raizo! And Raizo tries to struggle, but we see his, bodily fluids start to be drained out, and he's left the same kind of desiccated husk we saw Queen and... Was it King and Queen or Queen and Jack? I forget. I think it was King and Queen. Which, is Raizo dead? Is that an insta-kill move? Because, hell of a choice on Oda's part to, finally have Raizo liberate his homeland and then kill him right afterwards. He just lets out an "oh" as he's, left this husk. "Raizo, are you alright?" And Raizo does not say anything, because he seems kind of dead. Kawamatsu starts chopping off the roots. "Curse you! For every one I cut in two, another grows." And then I think this is Shinobu's line. "Does he have any weakness?" And Nekomamushi tells her, "We just gotta keep mowing this grass forever." Then we see Denjiro caught up in the roots. Kawamatsu and Nekomamushi, they're not being drained yet, but they are sort of bound by Aramaki. And then we cut to under the palace. And Kozuki Sukiyaki's secret chamber. We leave that there. We see the Poneglyph and, the doll room from 1053, I think it was. And then below. And we see it's Law, Robin, and Sukiyaki being taken below. "I'm surprised you sniffed us out." This is Robin's line, and Law comments to her, "You weren't with the others, so obviously I was suspicious. Don't act like I'm some kind of hyena." But Sukiyaki tells them both, "Watch your step. There's mold down here. I never told Kaido or Orochi about this route." but because Jack the lead performer was a fishman, they discovered the Poneglyph in quick order. And Robin sort of questions, why would being a fishman make it easy to spot? I guess it was before Jack got his devil fruit, because as we saw during Zoe, he was still affected by the curse of the sea as a fishman. He just couldn't move. He could breathe, but he couldn't move. So it must have been before he had his devil fruit that he did all this. Sukiyaki just tells her, quicker to see for yourself. And Law questions, how long will this take? Oh, let's say, several centuries into the past. Are they going to be like, I don't know, is this the Road Poneglyph? Right? Because we know there is a Road Poneglyph in Wano, right? Right? Let me listen to poneglyphs. Yes, there is one in Wano. So is this like the one? The one that like we don't know about? I don't know. That was a weird way of framing it. Is this the Road Poneglyph or... Because I thought the Road Poneglyphs were just like the map to Laugh Tale. What Sukiyaki's implying here is that this Road Poneglyph is about the Void Century, which is why that gets Robin's attention. And Robin points out a slight light up like a hill. There's like the stairs going down, there's another tunnel going up. Where's this dim light coming from? And Sukiyaki tells her, there's a glass block at the end of that tunnel. Go ahead and look through it. We're on the sea floor at this point. And she crawls in, and Law, with his devil fruit, just pops right next to her. Hey, no fair. But they're both at the entrance, and what they see shocks them. And underwater is Wano. Huh? It's Wano. At the bottom of the sea? And Sukiyaki tells them, this is not the bottom of this staircase, though, which is interesting to me. It means there's something even further below. That is the Wano of about 800 years ago. A different Wano. And Robin questions, what does that mean? Or that might be Law's line. But hold on. So, I had never really considered the possibility that the world, the world before the Void Century or before One Piece or at any point was ever anything but a collection of islands. What if this is like a Wind Waker situation? What if there was an entire society underwater 800 years ago? And then something happened during the Void Century as the world government took over. And that flooded everything, created this island world we see today. I don't know, I'm pulling this out of my ass right now. Sukiyaki tells them both, it means just as I said, but whatever happened in the past is unclear to me. The fact that this is not seawater probably explains its good preservation. Okay, so it's like a freshwater lake or something? What it means is that there was once a Wano with an enormous Fuji mountain. At some point, great walls grew around the island, and it filled up with rainwater. The people had to abandon their flooded towns, and instead create a new land on the side of the mountain for a new country. So, okay, it's right, because we already knew that Wano was atop a mountain. It was like much higher up than the sea floor, which is... So it's not that, like, the entire world got Wind Wakered. It was just Wano. Somehow these walls showed up and that flooded everything. But who was responsible for that? Was it some, like, punishment by the World Gov for not joining them? I don't know. Interesting thought. Anyway, for a new country. And Robin questions, and that's the Wano of today? And Sukiyaki goes back to walking down those stairs. It is. And then they've arrived. We're here. The Road Poneglyph. And Robin just comments, there it is. That's the third. One more and we'll be able to get to Laugh Tale. And Sukiyaki tells her, we're now high up in the caves at the foot of Fuji. It's further down into the earth, where the ancient weapon Pluton is said to rest. I have never seen it for myself, and I cannot show it to you now. Okay. So Pluton is here, below the Road Poneglyph. So what's the one Road Poneglyph they're missing? They have the one at Zoe, they have... okay, so it was at Fishman at one point, looking at the wiki here. And now no one knows where it is. But they need to know where it is because, you know, that's how they get to One Piece. That's the last goal, is the next goal has to be that Poneglyph. But yeah, that whole, what Robin says, one more and we'll be able to get to Laugh-Tale. Like, we really are kind of nearing the end here. Good lord, we are nearing the end of One Piece. Relatively speaking. But Sukiyaki goes on about Pluton. In order to retrieve Pluton, the walls will need to be torn down. In other words, opening the borders means destroying the country's natural defense and unleashing an ancient weapon onto the world. And Robin is confused at that. Opening the country will release the weapon? But why did Kozuki Oden want to do such a thing? I've told you everything that has passed down through the Shogunate's line. I could not tell you what Oden learned in his travels abroad. Okay. So what that's implying is that the walls are about protecting the world from Pluton? That's interesting. That is interesting. I don't know where we're going with that, but that is definitely interesting. I don't know. I just don't know. Anyway, we cut back to near the Flower Capital, as Aramaki is continuing his fight, taunting the Scabbards. Mere human beings cannot match the might of nature itself. Don't you get it? It was Kaido's presence that kept me from coming here. Also the fact you had no reason to be here without Luffy being here, but okay. That shocks everyone. Sad as it is to admit, Kaido's rule was a deterrent that kept enemies away from this land. Now bring me Straw Hat Luffy. He's got everyone tied up in the roots, not sucked dry yet. Once I've taken his head, I'll be on my way. And Yamato tells them all, we can rely on Luffy and his friends for help. They're better than him. And Momo refuses out of pride, finally explaining his, reasons for not letting Yamato fight. That is not an option, and I won't ask for your help either. Don't bother. You have been trapped on Onigashima for all of this time, and this is your chance. This is finally your chance to be free. And Yamato, he's not free right now. He is literally bound up in roots, but okay. Huh? So I'm giving you a proper send-off. Luffy, Zoro, and the rest. I've had them fighting my battles for me all this time. We're the ones who will stay behind in our country. We must be able to drive off any enemy. If we must ask for help from those who are about to leave, then we will never be able to protect Wano. Which, is a fair point. I see his point that, if they have to constantly rely on Luffy, then, what will they do when Luffy leaves? But also, right now, there is an admiral at your gate. Not even at your gate, in the country. You have to do something about that. And, it's not wrong to rely on whoever you need for help. I don't know. But Yamato's taking it back at that. Momonosuke, be gone, forest monster! Be gone from here! But still, he's, trying to get that blast breath out and fails. Aramaki just taunts, listen to you squalling like a little kid. I didn't know dragons could sound so pathetic. And Momo lets out another, be gone! And that light of the breath attack starts to flash, shocking Aramaki. And, he does a big ol' beam attack through Aramaki's torso. Whoa! And, he's a Logia, he'll be fine in the end, I think, but he's still stunned at the damage done. And Momo just panics, yeah! Something came out! And Dendro mutters, Lord Momonosuke! And the damage makes Aramaki lose control of his roots, the Scabbards all fall, along with Momo and Yamato. And Dendro is just, ecstatic. What was that, Lord Momonosuke? It looked just like Kaido's power. And Aramaki picks himself up, but, Momo is just going for it. Be gone! Be gone! Be gone! Readies another attack. Aramaki lets out, wait, damn you! And Momo fires again. I'm not quite sure it fully hits, because that panel is a little messy. And Yamato's this next panel, Yamato saying, incredible! Has he mastered his dragon body now? And Kawamatsu concerned, his aim isn't great. But, he still is setting fire to Aramaki's tree form. Leaving just a little sprout that survives the flame. But Momo just, trounces Aramaki here. But from that sprout, he's able to respawn. There we go. Goodness. You trying to burn down an entire town? And, the way he sort of, human-sized self and you're like the giant corpse. There's a sort of Titan energy to how Aramaki works, it seems. But he reforms his tree form. So you mean business. Fine. But you're a pitiful replacement for Kaido. I'll skewer you from mouth to tail. But then we hear, like, lightning strike in the distance. And... oh, okay, something happens. And Aramaki seems to be losing control of his devil fruit. Duh! Wait, stop! That's Supreme King Haki! Who's doing that? And he seems to recognize it. The red-haired pirates? Are you nearby? Okay, so Shanks is helping out a little bit. Good for him. So, like, you know, one of the questions that's been sort of, like, flying around, at least recently, I'm not sure how long it's been going on for, is will Shanks turn out to be a surprise villain? You know? Will Shanks actually be a big bad in the end? But here, I just read a little bit of these lines as I scrolled down. It feels like Shanks is, like, genuinely helping out the gang, genuinely helping out, you know, in practice Luffy, or in practice it's the Scabbards. In theory, though, it's Luffy who's on Wano. But the red hairs tell Shanks, Captain, easy with the sudden Haki blast. The new guys are foaming at the mouth. Oh, he's even affecting the red hair recruits. But Shanks talks to Aramaki through his Haki. Now I'm not accusing you of fighting dirty, Navy man. But when the new shoots that just changed pirating history are exhausted from their feet, don't you think that what you're doing is a bit much? And we see these, like, flashbacks of Luffy post creating the scar, Momo, like, as a kid bumping his head, little baby Hiyori, and Shanks just mocks him. Are you that afraid of the new era? And Aramaki just, like, runs away at Shanks' ferocity there. Look, I'm not picking a fight with you guys. Not yet. Fine. And he just books it, the fucking loser. Yamato parties. Momo, though, is seemingly unhappy with the results. You know, because in the end, his goals were not met. You know, he said, I'm going to be the one who fights. This is my kingdom. I'm protecting it. And in the end, it was Shanks. So that is going to affect Momo, I do believe. Then we come back to the party. We see Hiyori dancing happily. And it turns out the monster trio was watching the fight in the distance on a hill. And Luffy just giggles. He's gone. And Sanji's a little mad. Oh, we don't get to fight. But Zoro just comments, not bad, Momo. Not bad. And Jinbei's also behind them. That was some monstrous Haki being thrown around, though. Yeah, what was that? But Luffy just comments, like his big old grin, it made me think of a familiar face. To be continued as Shanks sails away. Okay, so with this, I do believe the plot of Wano is finally over. There's not going to be any more surprises. Aramaki is leaving. All that's left is to really, like, wrap up this sort of epilogue stuff, and send the Straw Hats on their way to their next adventure. And, you know, the Aramaki stuff wasn't really that big. This isn't like the Kaido fight that was like 50 chapters long. And it's honestly more interesting for, like, what it didn't do. You know, it's the stuff with Momo that I'm really concerned about here. Because, like, given that Wano is basically over with this, I don't know how much longer we're going to spend with Momo. The Momo might come back in some later date. He almost certainly will, actually. But, like, the effect, the mental effect of failing to save his kingdom, of having to rely on some passing pirate who he has never met, that seems to be weighing on him in that last panel on page, I think it's 16? Yeah, page 16. I think that's going to end up fucking with him. I'm not sure how we'll see that, because, again, he's sort of leaving the story soon as Wano ends. But yeah, I don't know. You know, we also just see Shanks being helpful to Luffy, which does set him as more of a hero than some theories have kind of been positing. But yeah, beyond that, you know, we also see Momo. He does take control. He gains mastery of his powers. It's just also tied with that feeling of uselessness of being saved by Shanks. And then there's the Wano stuff. the history of Wano. The Wano that was below the waves, the Wind Waker style country, which is interesting. It does kind of back off my initial assumption of there was a whole world beneath the waves at one point, to instead just be there is, Wano alone was beneath the waves, but it creates the question of why did those gates rise, why did the walls grow, why did all this happen? Why? One more mystery for Wano to have. One more mystery for One Piece, which, has plenty of mysteries. So I imagine once we get to Pluton and Shirahoshi's powers being important, and what's the one ancient weapon we haven't seen yet? Uranus? The one that we know nothing about. Once those all come into play, we'll probably get more info. I imagine the ancient weapons and the Void Sentry will all be tied into Wano's walls. It's one more mystery for the Void Sentry flashback whenever that finally happens to answer. But yeah, that's largely just sort of stuff to get those theories going. And then there's the Aramaki fight, and I love Luffy's little, that just, good vibes of Shanks being around. It's fun. But yeah, all in all, a good ending to the final, little wrap-up plot of Wano. Now we're really in epilogue mode, really in just letting Wano end, moving on to whatever the world has next for our all Straw Hats, and I can't wait to see what that ends up being. So with that said, I'm going to leave this video off here. Hope you all enjoyed the chapter and the video itself. If you did, feel free to drop me a like or subscribe, or, do whatever makes it happy, And as always, your life is your own, okay? Bye!